Hi, I'm Kelly Delaney of Cakes for Occasions in Danvers, Massachusetts, and I'd like to teach you how you can decorate a cake like a shoe. We baked off 2 6-inch cakes, but we cut them all in half. We're just gonna start by using half the heights of the cakes in order to build our shoe. We're gonna take one of the 6-inch cakes and we're just gonna carve out the shape of the front toe part of the shoe. Whenever you're cutting out a shaped cake, never throw away the scraps of your cake until you're all done. You never know when you're gonna need them. I'm placing the tip of the shoe right here on my oversized board. This is a 6-inch cake, this is a 14-inch board, just to give you an idea of the height and the width of the cake that you're going to end up making. Now we have the toe part of the shoe here. I actually, just for this purpose, just until we construct the shoe, I just have a bottle that I'm using. This is going to be kind of my reference to where my heel is. Okay? And the reason we're going to do this is because we now need to make the arch of the shoe, right? We need to make that arch part of what the shoe looks like. I'm taking cardboard and I'm going to cut out the arch of the shoe. I know it's going to be about 3 inches. This cardboard is going to be inserted into the tip of the shoe. And then I'm going to bend for the heel, just like that. Since my heel is not going to be as wide as this cardboard, I'm definitely going to need to trim it. So I'm just going to take my scissors and just work around so I can trim my heel. I'm going to build another layer of cake right on top. Now I do realize I have some space, more like a triangle space. We actually have an empty space right here in the middle. So this is perfect for the trim that we have. It's starting to take on the look of a shoe, but it's going to take a little while before we actually get the decorating part to make it look exactly like a shoe. So remember when we cut out the toe of the shoe and we left this extra piece here? This is actually going to come in real handy now to make more of a lip or a ledge of the shoe. So I don't need the whole height, so what I'm just going to do is I'm going to first just cut this right in half, because I'm not going to be able to pick up the whole thing and put it on together. I'm going to go right in half, so I only need half this height. Place this right here on top. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side, so you can see the shoe starting to come together. The next step is now we need to build up the arch. We have to be real careful. We don't want a lot of weight on this arch. The majority of the cake is in the toe because we're going to have an arch, and then it's going to be held up by chocolate dip pretzel rods covered with fondant. And I'm eyeballing everything. There is no mold out there for you to use. And don't be afraid to try something, and if it doesn't work, you just stop and then you do it again. Now I just have one little section here, and we're gonna cut the extra cake and put it right there. So I'm gonna pick up my shoe and I'll put it on top of the wheel. Usually when you decorate a cake, you're gonna wanna put your frosting on top of the cake, use your spatula and spread it out. You're not going to want to do this in this case whenever you're doing and you're building a molded cake. That pressure that you're going to have is going to end up hurting the cake. So instead, we're going to end up piping our frosting out with our pastry bag. We're then going to go out there and smooth it, but we're going to start by piping it. Fill in the cracks and then frost where everything needs to be frosted. And I'm just filling in all the seams, because we're going to want to try to make this look seamless. So using the small offset, this is going to be a perfect tool to get into the crevices that we need. So I'm just going to lightly apply pressure and smooth out the arch of our shoe down to the side. So we're going to be using pretzel rods for our heel. What I did was I went ahead and I kind of measured out the height of the shoe. You're definitely going to need some gloves for this, because otherwise you're going to have chocolate underneath your fingernails for weeks. And then I'm going to take these 4 rods, mix them with chocolate, and my goal is to try to get it somewhat round, and we're going to put this in the refrigerator to set. So our pretzel rods that we rolled with chocolate have now chilled, and they're all put together nicely. Okay, so we're going to keep them right there. I've got green fondant, which we're going to roll out and enrobe around the pretzel rods. Taking our confectioner's sugar, we're going to lightly dust our work surface and knead the fondant so it gets nice and smooth. We're going to then lightly dust our rolling pin and roll out the fondant. Now this fondant needs to be as long as the pretzel rods, but it has to be wide enough for me to enrobe it. So this looks like it's a perfect size, and I'm just gonna roll it right up. I rolled out the fondant relatively thick, as you can see. And I did that on purpose because we want to be able to mold the fondant around the pretzel sticks and make it look somewhat rounded rather than squared. We're going to take it one extra step. We're going to take our green fondant heel. We're going to paint it with edible glue and roll it in this fun silver sugar. So it's a nice silver sparkle stiletto heel. Using the edible glue, we're going to paint on our heel. I'm purposely not putting it on the top or the bottom because I want to make sure that it can stand straight. I've placed my heel into my bucket of sugar and I'm just going to cover it with the sugar. While we were making our heel, we had our shoe cake in the refrigerator. So the timing was perfect. It's nice and chilled now. We went ahead and made some yellow buttercream. And we're going to add, using this small offset again, we're just going to go through and just smooth out the color of the shoe, and then we'll go back afterwards and work on our lines. So go right along the shoe. If you don't have a lot of time in a day, you can always do this in steps. You could mold your shoe one day, that very same day make your heel, and then keep the shoe refrigerated, keep your heel out at room temperature, and then go back the next day when you are ready and you have time. So you want to finish and complete your shoe at least 6 hours before you want to transport it someplace. The reason being is with the buttercream frosting, you want to give it time to chill. Now granted, it is a shoe, so you don't really need borders, although we definitely need to jazz it up slightly. So we can use a colored border to make that pop. What we're going to do is we're going to carefully remove this jar. I'm going to use my hand to prop up, or actually maybe I'll use my spatula to prop up the actual heel and place the heel right inside. The weight of the heel is now pressing down on the stiletto shoe. Now when I go through, we're just going to add our borders just so it actually finishes it up. You take some silver dragees. I'm Kelly Delaney of Cakes for Occasions in Danvers, Massachusetts, and this is how you make a shoe cake.